I'm a Democrat.
I'm a Republican.
I am a Democrat.
I am a Democrat.
Conservative, however, socially liberal.
I'm a Democrat.
Democrat, but somewhat like also a democratic socialist.
I think the biggest thing would be you're influenced by your parents and your family.
My mom is an immigrant, and she holds a very kind of reactionary conservative view of the world, where my dad is Jewish American, born here, and he's very progressive and liberal.
Growing up in a home where your parents are leaning one way and maybe even your grandparents or other family members are leaning one way, then you're probably more inclined at that point. And I think that us in Civitas, we've kind of like broken from that. Maybe we're still staying the same, or maybe we've kind of flipped to a different perspective. But those ideas are based off of extreme knowledge, not necessarily like influence from others.
No.
Not at all. My parents, like they watch like super conservative news channels, and
When my dad's watching news, it's Fox News, and then when my mom comes home, she'll like watch CNN, and my dad's like, turn that fake news off, and I was like, oh.
Local news sources are usually very local focused, and they don't really get into major politics where they have a stake in it. But like CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, NBC, I would say they all lean very left, very right, and there's no really center organization that doesn't spin headlines in a view that's conservative or liberal.
I think all the news organizations definitely have a left or right leaning bias, and you can see like CNN or Fox News will bring in someone who's very outspokenly liberal or conservative.
The media only focuses on the mudslinging happening between like sexual allegations or Stormy Daniels, like stuff like that happening around that.
And that stuff is relevant. It's just not the overarching idea of someone's presidency.
Yeah, like the politics.
You can't base your opinion on a president, on a political candidate or whatever, based on whether or not they had an affair with someone. I think that can be part of how you think of them as a person. It might sway your vote, but you have to look, and if you're gonna attack a candidate or support a candidate, you have to support or attack them because of the way that they are acting on policy.
That's why Civitas is important, because it teaches us discourse in a polite manner without mudslinging, without attacking each other's personalities.
we do this activity where everybody lines up and you go, like if you identify more left, you stand on the left side and the right side, and then if you're like in between, you stand in the middle. Typically in the beginning, everyone's either to the right or in the middle, and then we just did it like 3 weeks ago again for the second time. We started it freshman year and then did it again a couple weeks ago, and it was like completely equal all across the board.
I think like Civitas in general, especially like at this school, brings together like the most unlikely of people in a way, because I mean a lot of people in Civitas like I like wouldn't usually be friends with due to like political views and stuff like that, but I think that Civitas like teaches you to set aside your differences and coexist regardless of what your political, social, economic beliefs are. So
Yeah, adding on to Wyatt, I think it opens up a lot of civil discussion, because in this class we're able to talk about politics and not feel any hard feelings against each other. Like in any other class, we would talk about an important issue, and after class people would not talk to each other because they don't understand that although we are talking about politics on different sides of the spectrum, we still mean the best for the country.
I think that all the arguing and all the conflict within politics is part of the reason why so many adults have such a cynical view of politics.
it's just so incredibly divisive.
I have a lot of millennial cousins and they didn't vote this year or the past election. So when I talk to them about asking like, why didn't you vote? The whole thing is that just politics now is just so dirty, and it's not, people aren't actually trying to change for the better. They're just trying to get their way, so people aren't compromising and nothing's getting done.
And like sometimes they're more focusing on like degrading the other candidate that they're going up against, and I'm like, okay, great, but like what did you do? Like, do you have anything
Like, do you have
to
a
say?
solution to the problem?
Yeah.
You can't just like sit there and criticize something without providing a solution. So I'd like to see politics start becoming more democratic again, and human rights being a forefront of how we look at politics.
It's so important to elect people that are willing to reach across the aisle.
I'd like to see more communication and compromise between the two parties.
It's just too much mudslinging, insulting each other, and no focus on policy.
What I would like to see done is a bigger emphasis on voter education and really educating the voters on the issues instead of the scandals and all the drama that's involved in politics.
I want to see something on the ballot that could represent me in a way.
What I would like to see is that the media only focuses on like policy.
It's important to keep in mind that policy is the true empowering factor for our democracy.